Hi, I'm Rachel, and welcome to my channel, Bricoleuse, where I share tips, techniques, and career advice from nearly 30 years working as a costume craftsperson. In project management in general, whatever the project, there are 5 phases.
Conceptualize, plan, execute, monitor, and deliver. These apply to every costume and every show.
In this video, with those phases in mind, I'll show you how I project labor hours for my workload on a recent production. I'll explain the factors to consider, how to accommodate change, and how to adjust projections when costumes are added or cut.
The example I use is The Legend of Georgia McBride by Matthew Lopez, performed by Playmakers Repertory Company of Chapel Hill, North Carolina in April 2023. The show has only 5 performers, but dozens of costumes, including several made-to-measure looks for a variety of drag show scenes.
I'll walk you through my process for estimating the time my team's workload will take in the context of the entire show's costume scope. And you can use this as a template. The variables will change: the number of costume pieces, the time to produce them, the number of people on a team. And with this process, you can decide whether it's possible to make your deadline with the resources you have.
Regional theaters, like the one I work for, operate on a seasonal basis. There are a set number of shows that run on a schedule for a given number of performances.
This means I know in advance important dates like when the shows are cast, when rehearsals begin, and when a show opens. In this content, I assume you are familiar with the job descriptions and responsibilities in a professional costume production studio. If you need a refresher on this, check out this video.
I'm a crafts artisan, which means I'm responsible for the costume accessories and surface design. I had an assistant who was responsible for all dye work and footwear tasks like rubberizing soles, replacing shoe buckles, and stretching.
For this show, we also had 6 drapers,
each of whom were responsible for both made-to-order costumes and alterations. As soon as the costume designs are finalized, I review them and make an initial work list for my team.
This includes estimates of the labor time each item will need.
I share this with management, and we refine it with the understanding that it's a working document.
There are always a lot of moving parts, so things will likely get added or cut in the production process.
I start with a big picture perspective when planning my team's labor capacity. I look at the calendar and consider the production schedule.
My team typically starts work on a show when the actors begin rehearsal.
I note how much time I have between first rehearsal and tech weekend, when all costume pieces must be wearable enough to be seen under stage light. For this production, I had 4 weeks.
I also know a few more details to help with planning.
Shoes are often fit that first week the cast arrives, and my team has to address notes for safety so the actors can work with them in rehearsal. Shop management will also schedule when the drapers will fit mock-ups and final costumes.
I use this information to generate a labor projection of how many work hours can go towards what is on my team's plate each week. Our shop works on productions from 1 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Each week I work 20 hours and my assistant does too, for a total of 40 hours labor weekly from my team.
And what is that workload?
At the same time as I considered the calendar, I calculated an initial labor estimate on this show based on the first work list and how I thought the production period would progress.
I created a second craft list during spring break when studio hours expanded 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., but we lost some staff to attend professional conferences.
This list reflects how some items had been cut while others had been added and includes completed pieces in strike-through. At this point, if the estimated hours required to complete my list exceeded the number of hours available in the remaining calendar, I could alert management so accommodations could be made.
This method illustrates the importance of learning your strengths and weaknesses and estimating your time and speed as accurately as possible.
For years, I've kept track of the time I spend to make various costume pieces, such that I can create a projection like this and feel confident in my forecast.
You can use this method to estimate your team's labor on a project or show with a calendar and a calculator to determine available labor within a production timeline.
And you can use project management vocabulary to translate your experience as a costumer into terms other industries will recognize and value.
Take a look at this playlist for more video content on professional development topics for costume professionals and related creative careers.